Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with a hard-hitting Chantelle Cameron, Chantelle El Capo Cameron. Chantelle, good to see you. How's life treating you?
Yeah, brilliant, thank you, and it's good to see you as well.
I appreciate that very much. Early starts indeed, but imagine days like this will take you back to the early days and getting the gloves on and trying to make your way in the sport in the amateur scenes, and then further on, how do you reflect on just your career and maybe giving back to some of the youngsters?
Yeah, it was an early morning, and I do like my sleep, so I'll catch back up on that later. But yeah, it's good to come down here and see the youngsters and work a bit with Boxwise. I mean, it's like I actually come to this gym when I was an amateur doing a Sporting Champions event, so that must be about 10 years ago. So it's mad to come back here and see the development in this gym, and yeah, good to see what's going on here as well with the amateurs.
If there's one tip you could give to a young fighter trying to forge their way in the sport, what would it be?
Perseverance. You need a lot of perseverance in this sport. If you fall at the first hurdle, you can't give up, because there's going to be many hurdles that you may not get through straight away, but you just got to keep trying.
That's definitely advice that you've lived, Chantelle, for sure. WBC interim champion, looking to make that a full version of the title. Got your fight out this weekend. Are you someone who watches much tape of your opponent? How do you feel you shape up and maybe some of the dangers she poses to you this weekend?
I actually don't watch any of my opponents. I leave it to my coach. That's their job. Their job to watch my opponent, give me my instructions, and get me prepared for that as well. So if you're going to train with someone, you've got to have the faith in them that they're going to give you the correct advice. And as well, I'm that experience now where I can adapt. So I feel like anyone who's in front of me, I can adapt to that style anyway. And I think if you start watching your opponent, start analysing it too much, it's just too much information I don't need. I focus on myself, my training, and what I can do, and I believe in myself enough that I can get through anyone as long as I do what I can do.
How do you feel you bedded in now with Grant and just kind of the change from Jamie over to him and kind of learning and tweaking your style, if at all? How do you feel you kind of bedded into that team now?
I gelled very well with Grant my first camp, but it's even better now because we've had longer to work with each other. So I feel like this is a much, much better camp, because obviously my first camp with Grant, there's a lot of nerves, and I hate change. I said it in another interview, I absolutely hate change. So I was a bit like, had a few doubts and a bit scared of what it was going to be like, etc., etc. But best decision I made for my career, and I feel like I've improved a hell of a lot with Grant. So it's all paid off, and I feel like the future's bright again for me.
Picking up on that, because that's a common thing. A lot of people don't like change and kind of upheaving things, and it's kind of a brave thing to go and, especially in the boxing world, go from one trainer that you've been entrenched with for so long to another one. How do you kind of deal with kind of the pushback maybe in your mind to say maybe you don't do this and, you know, go through that kind of barrier of wanting to change?
I'm my own worst critic, so I always want to be better, improve, and get the most out of my career as well. And I don't want to just be going stale and not improving and not making progress, where I kind of was at the stage where I did feel like that was happening, and I needed something new. I needed new eyes and kind of like a new chapter. And it was a massive decision and a very hard decision, but I knew it was coming, and I'm glad I've done it, because now I generally feel like a beginner again, and I've learned so much being with Grant. He's picked up on so many bad habits, made improvements on me, and it's paying off. But I've got to put that into the ring Saturday night, because talk's cheap, but in the gym it's paying off.
Outside of the boxing side of it, do you feel happier for that change?
Yeah, I do feel like happier. I feel like I can enjoy boxing again, because maybe maybe I got complacent, and maybe I was just like going through the motions a bit too much, and obviously I got beat, and that's when you start opening your eyes and thinking, I'm going to have to change something up here and make changes that I didn't want to make. And that's what I've done, so I'm very, very happy now.
I remember speaking to you aftermath of the last fight that you were in on your debut on the Queensby show, and you sort of kind of said, look, this is my path, this is my career. But I watched your recent interview on Boxing Social, and you kind of said, look, everyone knows who the one that I want next, and it's Katie Taylor. I want that trilogy fight. I want the chance of redemption. Yeah. How likely do you feel that is to materialise off the back of kind of the promise that was made in the ring, and then the path that Katie's taken? And it can't be begrudged, but from your perspective, you want that trilogy fight.
So I'm going to focus on Saturday night, because I would never be so disrespectful to overlook my opponent, because that's when you do get beat, and that's when hiccups happen. So I'd never be disrespectful even talking about the future, because if I lost on Saturday, then where do I go then, really? So my main focus is Saturday and making sure I get that win. But clear as day, like all I want is my redemption, and that's what makes me so hungry. And I think that makes me more dangerous now, because I refuse to lose the fact that I really want my chance to get my belts back. So I think everything does happen for a reason, and maybe it happened for a reason to make me more determined, more hungrier, and have that spite back in me where I'm determined now to make sure that I get back on top.
Not specifically a fight, but I imagine maybe now that the door's opening more for female fights over in the Riyadh season, that you want to get yourself over there and showcase your talents on a global and bigger scale.
100%. I think that would be a great experience, but again, I've got to focus on Saturday.
I can't remember if I asked you this in the last interview. There was a small little whisper in the industry that maybe you were thinking about venturing over into MMA. Was that the case at all? Was there ever that thought in your mind that you might do that?
Yeah, I was a Thai boxing and kickboxing world champion, so never say never. And I'd love to have a go at MMA. I think it would be a challenge for myself. And so when I do hang up the gloves, I definitely need to make sure that I do have at least one cage fight, just to say that I've done it.
So you would do that in the future?
Yeah, I would do it, yeah.
Do you still keep up with any of the training?
No, but I'm very close to the kickboxing coaches still. So my Thai boxing coach, he travels around the world supporting me, and my kickboxing coach, we always stay in touch and wishes me well and comes to some of my fights as well. So that would always be an option. But the grappling, obviously, I've done a bit here and there, but it's I'm not too keen on the grappling, to be honest.
Did you watch many of the fights?
No, not really.
Did you watch Savannah in her debut?
I did, yeah, and I thought it was a very good performance.
Then we get your thoughts then, of course, a big fight coming up, and I imagine you've got the eye on that in the form of Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. How do you think the fight goes between the two of them?
Going to be another great fight. It's a tough one because Amanda's jumping up so many divisions. If it was a 3-minute round fight, I would have said Amanda Serrano all along, because Amanda's done the 3 minutes, she's got the stamina, she's got the power, and the first fight she hurt Katie a lot, and the 2-minute rounds just didn't benefit Amanda Serrano. I am edging for Amanda Serrano, but it just depends on the weight jump.
So if it was 3, like Amanda had been calling for, would you back Amanda over Katie?
100%, without a doubt, 100%.
How different is the fight if it's over 3?
So a 3-minute round, you can cause more damage, and you've got time to get your opponent out of there. The 2 minutes, they just fly by. The bell goes, and next thing the bell's gone again. So you don't have long enough to really get to work.
Do you think, and do you want before your end of your career to fight over 3?
Oh yeah, I'd love to do a 12-3 fight, or even 10-3s. Like, I wouldn't be asking too much having 12-3s, but hopefully I do get to fight 10-3s. I'm always asking for it, but I just don't get it.
Shame. Last thing I want to ask you is, look, one of the things I think you were saying when you moved over to Queensbury, just the pride of yourself and your career and wanting to really push yourself. Do you feel that now you've joined over to Queensbury, you're getting that activity and getting the priority that you wanted?
100%, and I'm so grateful for Queensbury and Frank Warren that kept me busy. So even though at the moment it's quite a difficult position I'm in, because I am kind of waiting around and seeing what's going to happen. So I'm so grateful that they've kept me busy. They got me out in July, got me out on Saturday, whereas they kind of could have kept me on the shelf and could have kept me waiting, but they haven't. So I couldn't ask for anything more, and I'm just very thankful for that as well.
Chantelle, thank you for your time. Thanks for being Seconds Out. Looking forward to your fight this weekend. Much appreciated.
Thank you.